Wrestling fans, get ready. Mr. USA Tony Atlas returns not once but twice in the month of November for blockbuster Memories and Legends and holiday tapings. If you're in the Boston area, you can join us live in studio Saturday, November the 24th and Friday, November the 30th, all part of our 7th annual Paul Bearer Holiday Headlocks Toy Drive campaign. Remember, admission to these tapings is absolutely free. However, at the same time, we can use all the support we can get from fans around the globe in making these great productions happen. We can't do it without you. Hundreds of thousands of fans from around the globe have enjoyed Memories and Legends, but without your help, we run the risk of having to go dark. Visit BostonWrestling.com and use the Indiegogo link below to help fund these expensive productions for fans to enjoy for decades to come, with some great prizes for donors. Right now, the Hall of Famer Tony Atlas tells you why it's so important for these Memories and Legends tapings to take place. I think if we're able to ever get to a certain point with the assistance of the fans, Tony, I'm sure you'd be happy to come down every week if we could make it happen.
Yes, I would. And first, I would like to thank you, Dan, and Boston Wrestling, because one thing that a lot of fans seem to forget, we ain't gonna be around forever. I mean, when I look back on guys that I sat and talked to just last year alone, I mean, just about every year we lose 2 or 3 wrestlers. Vader, yep. Ronnie Piper. You know, in 2010, I lost my best friend, S.D. Jones. So there's very few. Me and Brutus the Barber Beefcake were talking 2 weeks ago, and we're always so happy to see each other because there's very few of us is left. You know, it just seemed like yesterday that I was in Legend House, WWE Legend House, with Rotten and Ronnie Piper. And now Piper is not around anymore to tell his story. He's not around anymore to sign autographs. He's not around anymore to meet and greet the fan. So thanks to the good work of Boston Wrestling and Dan Morella here, you know, you're able to see, you know, us, you know, and it would not be possible. I mean, Tony Atlas would be probably forgotten about if it wasn't for Boston Wrestling.
I don't know if I'd go that far, Tony.
Well,
you're a two-time
you know,
Hall
out
of
of
Famer.
sight, out of mind. But,
right.
I mean, people are able to tune in to Boston Wrestling. They're able to hear some of the old stories that a lot of the guys, like some of the stories I tell, the rest of the day, they was babies. Just like Roma Rage. You know, his father and me,
you wrestled his father, yeah,
his Seeker, one of the Wild Samoan Seekers, was traveling up and down the road with us, and way before Roman Reigns was even born. You know, and like The Rock, you know, I used to sit in the dressing room and babysit Dwayne Johnson, The Rock, with me and his father. You know, we was on tour together. I remember he was a kid. But, you know, a lot of us, like me, Rock and Johnson, you know, we get up in age, so it makes us feel good that we could come to a program like this where people can hear about the way wrestling were back in our day. Kind of like if you get out here, the Rolling Stones to sit here to tell music fans how it was to travel in the days when the Rolling Stones first started their career and when they first did things. So it's a great history lesson of pro wrestling and athlete. So once again, thank you, Dan, and thank you, Boston Wrestling, for giving us the opportunity to tell our stories.
I appreciate that an awful lot, more than you know, Tony. Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, I'm Dan Marotti.
And I'm Mr. USA Tony Atlas.
It took him a second.
Always does.
Before we get to this great full-length episode of Memories and Legends, check out some of our great friends you can help support the cause to keep more Memories and Legends coming your way. Infinity Key, a truly natural online language training experience. 25,000 minutes. That's what you'll need to invest. Invest 25,000 minutes with Infinity Key, and we'll build you a portfolio of language experiences designed to accelerate your personal progress. The coach will help you strike the right balance between passive acquisition and active application of your target language. InvestKey's algorithms and coaches guide you along the clearest, quickest path forward on your journey to fluency. Visit www.infinitykey.rocks for more information and follow Infinity Key on Facebook at facebook.com/InfinityKey.
Champion, the Brahma Bull, the Great One, this
Finally, The Rock has come back!
is his story. Journey alongside the millions in this definitive guide to
The most electrifying man in sports and entertainment!
See The Rock.
It's just a man!
Like you've never seen him before.
But The Rock is cooking!
The World of The Rock. Available now.
Wrestling fans, check out our friends at Performa's state-of-the-art WWE Superstar and Legends Shaker Cups. They're 100% leak-free and shatter-resistant, guaranteed. Mix your powder using Performa's patented action rod technology. Check out new Superstars just added to the collection at PerformaBrand.com. I've had one on my desk every day since testing it out. Select your favorite WWE shaker. You'll be using yours every day, too.
WWE invades Los Angeles for Survivor Series weekend with 3 massive events. First, it's NXT TakeOver War Games, featuring NXT champion Tommaso Ciampa, the Undisputed Era, and more. Then on the heels of Survivor Series, it's Monday Night Raw on November 19th with Ronda Rousey and Braun Strowman, followed by WWE SmackDown Live on November 20th, featuring AJ Styles, Daniel Bryan, Charlotte Flair, and many more. 3 nights of live television, all at the Staples Center. Combo and single event tickets are available.
Wrestling fans, check out the brand new lapel pin from our friends at Crimson Mask. Inspired by Stone Cold Steve Austin and Vince McMahon, it's Bang 316. Only $8 each or 2 for $12. If you think it makes a great holiday gift, give me a hell yeah. Get yours today at crimsonmask.bigcartel.com.
This is Mick Foley.
This is Harley Race.
This is Shelton Benjamin.
This is Mr. Wonderful Paul Orndorff.
This is the Monster Abyss.
And this is Daniel Bryan.
This is JBL, and you're watching the MWF.
Be there live.
WWE Champion, Daniel Bryan!
This isn't right, guys. I don't know. Daniel Bryan just low-blowed AJ Styles.
Wrestling fans around the corner, around the world, with another installment of Wrestling Insiders. I'm Dan Marotti, joined by longtime MWF executive.
Yes, sir.
He's been here in the MWF almost as long as he's been on certain dating applications, but that's a different story for a different time. Dave
Yes, it
Cotter,
is.
pleasure to be here again.
Great to be here, too.
We're going to mix things up a little bit. This week we're going to try to produce individual news segments, and then we're going to incorporate them into one big show once the fans online have seen the little segments. So I'm interested to see the fan response. As always, we love the thumbs up, the thumbs down, and with him, I think he likes the swipe lefts.
Yes.
But the big news of the week, it is...
No, swipe rights then, because swipe left means I don't like it.
Oh, well, see, I don't know. I'm not hip
If
to
we're
the
gonna go
blade
right
on
there.
that. Swipe to the right then for them, especially the men.
There we No.
Let's start with the big news of the week.
Becky Lynch, after that great performance on Raw, she ends up seeing her way out of Survivor Series now. I guess she has a concussion, broken face. What do you think about that? You think she went too hard? Do you think she took one for the team? How do you feel about it?
Well, it's disappointing more than anything.
Yeah.
This is...
the other part is, do you think they're holding it for WrestleMania 35? Do you think that's where they're going with it? Is that why? Or do you think
they don't have the patience.
So you think it's just she seriously...
Well, no, I mean... She was in rough shape after what happened.
She did look it too.
The end of Monday Night Raw. Disappointing. It was one of the best women's angles they've ever come up with between the two of them. There were some things I didn't like about it, but we'll talk about that in our Raw review. But the match was shaping up to be a must-see wrestling match. Not a women's match, a must-see wrestling match. And unfortunately, it's down the drains now, having to rush Charlotte and Ronda in its place, which I think is a waste, but that's a different story for
But
different
at least
time.
we're going to get a good match. They could have threw somebody in. They could have been like, oh, Nikki, come back for a rematch, and we would have hated that. So at least if they're going to do it, they put someone in that we can be, okay with. I'm excited for the match still to see what they can do.
On paper, it's a good match.
Yes,
It's
we'll
a
see what it
shame
does.
that the fans are going to be let down that really wanted to see it. Becky has really got a more intense following over the past couple of months. And even as someone, as you know, that is not the world's biggest women's wrestling fan, this is something that's good wrestling. So it was something I was actually interested in.
Oh, definitely. She's been awesome, man. Like those reactions, like yesterday when she was on Smack, she was getting bigger pops than Ronda. Like it's unbelievable. She's still in the crowd. She's doing well with what she's got. It's just sad to see her go. Now, Her face, whew, that was in rough shape. I know some of it probably was makeup, but a lot of it, man, her face was puffy. She really took a beating.
Yeah, Nia Jax didn't hold back.
No. Is that what you think caused it, that big?
Did you see the punch?
Yeah, but still, I mean,
Well, let me tell you, Nia Jax is probably about my height.
Yeah, that's true.
And
the big girl.
A large woman.
Yeah. There you go.
And
Good
she
boy.
swung as hard as she could.
I'm proud of you for saying the right thing there.
What did you think I was going to say?
You were going to say something like a package of hot, something silly like you always say.
That was something that fans live in Augusta, Maine said,
right,
that she looked like a package of hot dogs.
Okay, well, I'm proud of you for not using that. Thank you.
Well, depends on the week, I guess.
Okay.
But Nia, she found a little George Foreman in her. And she swung for the fences and connected with Becky Lynch's face. And Becky's face almost looked like a pumpkin a couple of weeks after Halloween by the time Nia got done with her.
Bad.
So,
I even liked how she was selling it, though, like the blood in there. Like, it was just such a good visual, wasn't it? And they were showing, because you know how WWE's against the blood now? They were, like, right in there showing it. Like,
well, it was her nose, so I maybe that was part of it.
Yeah, because you know how usually they try to get away from that?
No, they do.
They were really posting it in her face, so I thought it was good. And I loved how she got in the crowd. It was awesome. It was such a good reaction. Oh, I'm so sad she's gone, but hey, what are we going to do?
Well, that's SmackDown Live, and let's run through the big event that took place last night in St. Louis, Missouri, the home of the Cowboy Bob Orton.
Yes, sir.
Good friend, the Cowboy Bob Orton.
Well, we kicked it off with AJ Styles coming down to the ring. I mean, and then Paul Heyman showed up. Remember, he was outside the ring. I thought that was cool. And then DB came out, Daniel Bryan, and basically they went back and forth. Daniel Bryan said, if you mention my name one more time, I'm going to punch you in the face. And then AJ, obviously did, attacked him. Backstage, I thought it was a great pull-apart. I thought all that was really cool, the whole everybody being out there trying to pull him out, selling it. I thought it was great. I mean, I don't know how you feel about it. I know you probably have a different opinion.
How many guys, realistically, would you need to pull apart those two?
I know, but just because it was so intense, I thought it was kind of cool. It was different. You know what I mean?
It was all right.
Yeah, and we ended up getting a World Heavyweight Championship match out of it, so I mean, that's cool too. But that was how they kicked off SmackDown. How did you feel about what happened?
Like I said, it was all right. Is anyone going to believe Daniel Bryan is a dangerous man? Like the beginning angle, and then we'll get to how the show ended a little bit later.
Well, that's where I was going to go, but we'll talk about that after. I was going to go there. All right, first match we had Andre Amos versus Jeff Hardy. It was a good match.
Hey, two guys that can go.
Yeah.
Jeff sometimes can be hit or miss depending upon how his body feels or is reacting. Almost is someone that I would go out of my way to protect.
Right,
WWE hasn't gone out of their way to protect him, but
lose clean too.
In 1997, they went with a mantra. They were going to pick 6 guys, and none of them were ever going to wrestle each other on TV, and none of them were ever going to do jobs on TV. I'd like to see them do that on both Raw and SmackDown. Never save these guys their losses on pay-per-view and wrestling each other on pay-per-view. Almost is someone long-term that could be a heel for him. I don't like his the attire he wears to the ring. I'd like to see them jazz him up a little bit. I'd like to see him try and have been the Alberto Del Rio character. I think he could have pulled that off, but
I kind of liked how he came out with the mask, though, the Rey Mysterio mask.
That's
real quick.
fine.
That
I'm
was kind of cool.
about his jacket.
Regular jacket, get up. Yeah, I get you.
It really doesn't stand out all that
I like
much.
him having Selena Vega, though. She
adds to it. She was the missing piece as far as his presentation goes. And I think women valets have been done to death.
Right.
But when they work,
she's good at it.
It's great.
Yeah.
And that is a good pair right there.
Yep, and like I said,
SmackDown.
Jeff Hardy won the match clean, too, but like you said, they're not helping his cause, Siamas, by having him lose.
Not at all.
It was a good match, though. Jeff Hardy did look like
It was a good match. Yeah, Jeff looked good this week.
And then we had a backstage segment with The Miz and Paige talking about how DB's not in anymore and he's not the captain, so he's going to choose one more person, and it's going to be The Miz versus Rey Mysterio. He wanted to kick out Rey Mysterio. I mean, the whole segment.
Overbooked.
Was it? You
Little
think so?
too much. They didn't need to go through all that.
Yeah, and then from there we went to the match, The Miz versus Rey. How did you? I think The Miz works great with everybody. My opinion, I think he works great with anybody in the ring.
Yeah, he's certainly
He can
the best
definitely
heel
tell a
on
good story.
SmackDown right now.
Oh, yeah, right? Definitely.
Mysterio, he looked pretty good this week.
Looked good, right?
His best interest for him to have lost the muscle mass that he's had in previous years in WWE. I think with the mask, he almost looks a little bit like little Kalisto. I don't understand why he has the same style mask that Kalisto does. Maybe he doesn't realize Kalisto is even on the roster at this point. But,
I knew it.
it's good to have Ray back. I think in smaller quantities would be best served. He
I
doesn't
totally
need to be around. But then again, like I've always pushed, no one needs to be on TV every week because then their appearances are not special. They're watered down, and that's why you have an era right now where so many guys on both rosters aren't truly over to the point where they actually mean something as far as ticket sales go.
And I totally agree. And perfect example is Randy Orton. All he did was show up real quick, do the RKO, and he's out. He didn't even have nothing last night. It was good. That was perfect for him. So when his appearance comes like that, people went crazy for it. And I loved how he did the RKO. It was awesome. Out of nowhere, Ray's got out there. I think they're going to start a little feud maybe with them too then, because if he keeps on coming in during Rey Mysterio's matches, And, but yeah, I think The Miz works great in the ring with them. And I thought Ray looked good in the match, definitely. And Rey Mysterio's still on the team because he won the match.
There you go.
He won with the roll-up. And then we went to
I was a little worried about that.
I know you were. And then we're moving on to the part that you probably looked for the most. Paige came out and announced the whole SmackDown Survivor Series team for SmackDown. The crowd, was into it at least. They didn't hate it. And from there, that's when Becky came out. After she announced the women, Becky came out, said that she couldn't. She was going to select somebody, and she selected Charlotte. They hugged and everything. It was a nice moment.
They made the best out of it.
Yeah.
I mean, it was a lousy situation. I've been there before with things we've done here in the MWF, obviously on a smaller scale than WWE leading into a pay-per-view. But there's nothing worse than when you have something hot and it's cooking, and then all of a sudden you got to pull the plug on.
Right.
That's the most frustrating feeling in the world.
This probably was the best women's segment since the Revolution or whatever started. This was probably the best storytelling they've had in it right now, this story they have between Ronda and Becky.
You mean the segment they did this week?
No, in general, this whole story, this ongoing story.
I agree with that. Yeah. I agree with that.
And I like the one line she said, "You're not the baddest, you're the luckiest bitch." I thought that was so good just to change it a little bit, to keep a little heat there so when she is clear to go, they still have that. I thought it was good. And then, like I said, she picked Charlotte.
I still say there's so much wasted momentum, lost momentum at this point with Asuka. Yeah. If they ever had her keep that winning streak intact over what turned into a meaningless match with Charlotte at WrestleMania, I mean, to only have Charlotte lose a couple of days later to Carmella, Asuka against Ronda Rousey at WrestleMania could have been very appealing if it was a match where not only the women's title was on the line with having, per se, Ronda wins the Royal Rumble and chooses to be the one to end Asuka's streak, but go for the streak and the title in the same match. I think that would have been a great build-up. I think the drawback maybe, and I don't know if this is WWE's thought process, but it makes a lot of sense to me, is that Asuka is so weak on promos. Her verbal ability is almost non-existent.
Yeah, which is so weird because her father, But hey. So that we went from there. We had the New Day versus the Bar and the Big Show. 6-man tag.
You know what got me? Because I had a few thoughts in mind about these different segments this week. And I was going through the couple of different rosters to show, you hate to take cheap shots, but just to talk about lazy. Big Show is still listed on the Raw roster on the website.
I didn't even look at that, no. Wow.
I don't know. Again,
it's
it
just
probably just shows how
mean.
much thought was put into adding him to the bar for no apparent reason. The match was pretty good, though.
And his finish with the KO punch was kind of cool. I did like that.
Yeah, Kofi took a good bump. He made that look good.
I thought that was cool. That's the one thing I wrote down. And I thought besides the Big Show, I thought the match was good. But we were saying that they always work good together. The New Day, the Bar.
Yeah, you're not going to get a lack of an interesting match or a lack of work effort from any of those guys. So.
And then I just wrote that little promo they did with the little segment with the Usos backstage. I thought that was really cool.
Yeah, you messaged me last night. I thought that was really good. It was different. It wasn't, the typical female announcer going, what do you think about
Here we go.
Survivor Series on Sunday? No, it was different. It had a different look to it. The camera shots were different. I thought it was well done. I think the match itself is atrocious. But
and that's why it's on the pre-show, maybe. Because, you got 4 hours and you can't fit that on. There's something there.
I don't think anyone wants to see it.
Right.
That Raw team is so weak.
Oh. And then go figure, we thought they were breaking them up, and Rude and Gable are the captains of it, which we'll talk about on the Raw segment. But
it's a big one.
It's unbelievable. And then we went to the WWE Championship match, which was AJ Styles versus Daniel Bryan, obviously. And it was a great match. I thought the match had everything in it. Two great workers.
Two former Millennium Wrestling Federation superstars.
There you go. Get that plug out, buddy. You
got to get that in.
And then the submission after submission, I thought that was really good wrestling right there. a former wrestler. I thought that was great, amateur style. Like they just moved into submission to submission. I thought it was cool. If you know wrestling, some of those holds were legit amateur wrestling holds. They were good. It was fun.
They would have made Billy Robinson proud. If
there
he was
you go.
Still with
And then
us.
the crowd was behind the whole match, which I liked. They weren't bored. It seemed like they were hot for it. It was good. And the thing that stuck out to me was the low blow at first. When I did, and I'm like, oh my God, they're gonna turn him. And he did a low blow and then pinned him for the 3. I mean, like I said when we talked, is him turning heel. If he does what he did after the match to AJ, I think you can get people to hate him because he literally had his arms and just kept on nailing him. I mean, it's a way to get heat. And the crowd were booing him once he started doing that.
They were booing, in my opinion, the situation. They don't
Which
want to
very well
boo
could.
Daniel
I wasn't in
Bryan.
the crowd, so I'm not sure. But from the reaction, either way come across, you could think it was either one. We'll see next week. Well, we'll see at Survivor Series, actually.
But you have technically 2 heels going at it on Sunday.
Right, but
so
if they
who do
still,
you think they're going to cheer in that one?
My main thing is I want to see how he comes out now because he's yes. How does he do?
Well, he's going to be, sinister and maybe a little
right,
crazy.
but I want to see how it is. They got to change his music, right, or something?
It's unbelievable. Not unbelievably bad that they did it, which it is. It's just an unbelievable presentation for the fans. They're not going to like it. This will be about as successful as when they had him join the Wyatt family.
I don't know because I think if you go all in on, here's the thing: I think you go all in it, you change the music, and you just have him be that bad heel like that. I think there's a way, and then the payoff is when they do want to turn him back to face it down the road. They play that music, people get excited. I think there's a way to make him a strong heel if they do it right. You change his music, you have him do what he was doing,
I'm at a loss at this one.
I know you are.
Unless they have a long-term plan, it was
That's what I'm saying, and that's what I'm saying. I'm not saying it's going to work. I'm saying if they do have something in place, by just changing the music to start would work to be a step in the right direction.
As a babyface, he's a man that came back from injury for 2 years, is a lovable, rootable underdog.
But he could use.
And as a heel, he is going to be presented as a little tiny white guy pretending he's nuts and crazy. People are not going to believe it. They're going to shit on it.
Well, we'll see. I mean, I hope they build it right. I mean, you could be totally right, but I don't know. I'm not going to poo-poo on it yet because what happened Tuesday night with him just smashing AJ's, I think that's great heel tactics. And if he can add more to his repertoire, doing things of that nature, you never know. Plus, a good opponent. How are you going to – I just don't know how they're going to do the Brock and him match. Like, how's that, heel versus heel?
What I will say about it in a more positive tone is that it was memorable.
Right.
But if you look back at, especially with your buddy, Captain Creative himself, Vince Russo, at times,
baby.
you can create.
We'll get into talk.
You can create very surprising situations. You can create.
When The Rock joined the corporation.
Great scenarios that people will remember for years. But as far as the people in the present that are going to watch it week to week, it could go south very, very quickly. And I think that's what's going to happen. People might remember, remember when Daniel Bryan turned on AJ Styles?
And that's why he's got to keep the heat.
And they'll remember nothing after the fact.
Well, that's why he's got to keep the heat.
I just don't think it's believable for him to do it.
I'm going to have faith in these writers. They'll get this right. I hope.
Well,
we'll see. Tune in next week for that.
The past 17 years.
That's right, baby. And the last time it was good was who was in there, buddy?
I don't
Go ahead, say it.
Have faith.
Say the name.
Stephanie McMahon.
No, Vince Russo, baby.
Stephanie McMahon was the head writer in early 2001.
Oh, yeah, their ratings were beautiful.
In 2001, they were. They were great.
Not when it was Attitude
Higher
Era,
than the late 90s, yeah?
No, definitely not. Who had the most success? Like we talked about last week.
We don't need to go through the same debate again.
Because you'll
like
never
I said,
agree.
I give credit where credit is due.
Yeah.
And that's not everyone will do that.
There you go. Well, Daniel Bryan won the championship.
Bryan is going to be...
He's going to be facing Brock Lesnar at Survivor Series. And that's it for SmackDown this week.
You think that there is going to be a chance at success that the fans may boo Daniel Bryan?
Mm-hmm. I do.
I'm not going to say this was as much of a fail as when Austin turned heel, but it's not too far off. Don't take a guy that people like, buy merchandise for, are genuinely happy to see, and turn him in a presentation.
Well, they did with Dean Ambrose.
He's not going to be believable as a bad guy. Ambrose was a character that had some edge to it.
But still,
Daniel Bryan has about as much edge to him as a rice cake.
The fans
He's
love
just kind of plain.
Look at Seth Rollins. They did with Seth too.
Seth Rollins has a little bit of edge to him. But Daniel Bryan doesn't have any edge.
Because the way they built him up, because of the story with the background. You know what I mean? Now, Perfect example is Roman Reigns. Now he's going to come back and the fans are going to cheer him. Before, they did everything they could to make him a favorite and people were booing him. So there's a chance.
There's a difference. I'm going to go back to the house show they had at the Garden a couple of weeks ago. With Roman, did they get the response they wanted? No. But the fans always reacted when they saw him, which means he's over. When we saw the main event triple threat in Boston, which was AJ, Bryan, and Nakamura, the fans didn't want to react to it because they didn't want to dislike Bryan or AJ Styles. And I think that's going to be the problem you're going to see with Daniel Bryan going forward, as long as they keep this up, is that the people aren't going to want to boo him, but they're going to be trained by WWE's presentation not to really supposedly want to cheer him either. And I don't think anybody's going to win. I think it was a bad move. I know sometimes you need to shake things up a little bit, especially on SmackDown. Most of their top guys now are older guys in their 40s. Hopefully, there's a long-term plan involved, a long-term storyline, and it will get over. I hope for the aspect of it from a business point of view, I hope it gets over great. My personal opinion, do I think it will? Not at all. Not at all.
I guess we'll see.
That's why we talk it out.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I hope it does work out because I think Daniel Bryan as a heel would be kind of fun if he can do it right. You know what I mean? Because he wasn't always a face when he first came in and with Nexus and everything.
You don't need fun heels. You need heels that are dangerous.
I'm just talking about the whole package, Dan. I'm not actually saying fun like ha-ha laughing. I'm saying just be fun to see him play a different character. You know what I'm saying?
No,
he's always yes. Let's see him do something else. And you know what? When he was doing that he was a heel before too, man, with Kane for a little bit. No. People hate him. You know what I mean? There's little tidbits there that he was for a little bit. Because the story you're saying it's not going to work. I mean, come on. People forget what happened
I just think the presentation, at the end when he was going, ooh, and, making that face.
Hey, you never know. We'll see what happens.
In the end, you want to know what it's going to come down to?
Nobody cares.
Correct.
Right? There
and
you go.
Unfortunately, that's a big problem with a lot of their presentation now.
Hey,
no one cares enough about it.
Well, that was SmackDown.
That was SmackDown, fans. All right, on the long version of this, we're going to go to a timeout. On the webisode, this is going to be the end. We want to remind you that not once but twice in the month of November, the Hall of Famer himself, Mr. USA, Tony Atlas, is going to be back in this very studio. Saturday, March the 24th. Am I excited about WrestleMania
You
or
are.
what? Let's try that again. Saturday, November the 24th. Friday, November the 30th. We get Big Memories and Legends tapings with Mr. USA, Tony Atlas here. And don't forget, for Survivor Series weekend, we have TakeOver, so that means not one, but two brand new episodes with Tony Atlas himself, and what episodes these turned into. And the first one, we look at Tony from the time he left WWF in 1986, going through working with the Von Erichsen World Class, going to Puerto Rico where the Bruiser Brody murder took place, to getting a guaranteed contract from the Savoldis and ICW, and then eventually that well going dry, so to speak, until the time he becomes homeless. Then in the second episode that comes out this weekend, we're joined by the president of the Millennium Wrestling Federation, the esteemed Dr. David Reese. We look at what it is like for a man that was known around the world as a WWF superstar to just a couple of years later, living under a park bench in Maine with the ICW World Heavyweight Championship in the cardboard box he lived in.
Wow.
So it's a very interesting story. You may take a lot out of it in different ways, but maybe it'll make you feel a little thankful as we head towards Thanksgiving. And we got to get the segue in because Thanksgiving night, another special episode for the 7th annual Paul Bearer Holiday Headlocks Toy Drive. Bruce Pritchard will be joining us. Oscar will be joining us. And of course, we'll have some great cameos from Mick Foley, Jim Ross, Million Dollar Man, Ted DiBiase, and many others. It's going to be a lot of fun, all to help GPS in the sleigh, the big red man in the suit. He can't find every kid for some reason, as great as technology is. So we want to upgrade Santa's GPS and make good things happen. Again, fans, if you're watching the internet version, we'll speak soon. You and yours be well. I'm Dan Marotti.
And I'm John Cena Sr.
Let us tell you how the action and excitement of the Millennium Wrestling Federation can help raise cash for your nonprofit cause. Experience the action and excitement of the Millennium Wrestling Federation live in your city, throughout New England, the tri-state area, down through the Carolinas, out to our friends in the Midwest and beyond.
If your nonprofit organization is looking for an interactive turnkey experience while putting enough fun into fundraising, you've met the perfect tag team partner to work with. every step of the way.
The MWF offers a variety of packages for groups of almost any size, from our live events at the Boston Garden, the Kowloon Entertainment Dining Complex, and the legendary Suffolk Downs, to high school gyms and function halls. We've presented live events everywhere and anywhere.
Since 2001, the MWF's mission has been simple: keep the kids off the streets. Under the leadership of President David Reese, we bring the superstars of yesterday, today, and tomorrow to your town. Not for a wrestling show, but an event that features action-packed in-ring wrestling, autograph, pose photo opportunities, Q&A sessions, and so much more. It's the best of sports and entertainment. The week of your event, we can add on to the endeavor with anti-bullying campaigns, library meet and greet reads, youth sport concussion seminars, and more.
Our live events are fit for fans of any age from 5 to 95. This fall, as part of our new Kids Club program, we offer live event experiences exclusively for the youngest of fans. On the flip side, we can produce a tailor-made event for fans of an older demographic as well. We work with you every step of the way to get the word out to fans near and far on our local television offerings and to over 50,000 fans and growing on our social media platforms.
Your success is our success. If your group has had enough of candy bar and wrapping paper sales and has the energy to team with our passionate fan base, bringing the NWF experience to your community is the answer to put smiles on faces while raising cash for your cause.
Contact us today to get the ball rolling for your custom-made event that you'll want to bring back year after year to your community.
Don't just take it from us. Here are the folks we've teamed up with in the past.